dancing with our past. That's the ayoyote, our ancestors, the bone of our ancestors. In the present, which is our traditional regalia. For our future, in our hands, you'll see sonaja yakashli, which is a rattle. The history, the philosophy, the dance, the ceremony, the rituals, all the different parts that comprise the Mexican nation, that's what we're trying to teach.
We don't impose people. Everyone has their own beliefs and traditions, so we just want to be respectful of that, and hopefully by making aware of this of this day and of the culture, of the Mexica culture and the people, that people are gonna be like, oh, okay, hey, isn't your new year coming up in March sometime? Or I don't know. I think that's a cool feeling to know that we put it out there, like people know it exists. Respect your mothers, respect your fathers, respect your grandmothers and your grandfathers, but respect even more everything and everyone that surrounds you. Only in this way can you live in harmony with life.
First when I started playing music, I didn't know that you had to know how to read music and know all the fingers for the piano, and I just played with one finger at a time, and I didn't even know that you had to learn the fingerings for it. That was my first song.
The thing that is neat is that Yupeng is able to use his hands in a way that usually it takes somewhere between 2 to 5 years of lessons before you understand how to use your hands. And that to me is the thing that's been amazing.
I just made up the left hand.
You made up the left hand? Go ahead and add the left hand that you made.
Chitose Hajime. This is my Japanese song. I practice really hard songs until I get it right. The more we get together, the more we get together, the happier we'll be.
Minnesota Sinfonia. We go into Minneapolis and St. Paul public schools and work with about 10,000 children every year. Well, not only that, but we raise the money for these programs and then we give them free of charge to the districts.
Reaching out to communities that may never otherwise be exposed to orchestra music.
And we're all excited to sing with the orchestra.
It's fantastic. Their relationship with the kids is fantastic. Tonga. I came from Tonga. First performance in the United States. I came last year, so I just started leave 3 weeks ago. Tonga is an island, so around by Fiji, Samoa.
But our students are proud of who they are, where they come from, and what they can contribute to not only our school, but our communities.
Another staff member said that she was noticing some of her level 1 students, her brand new students, on stage. So, if we can give them an opportunity to show their culture and show us who they are, that's great, and I think that'll transfer to the classroom.
Planning going to college when I'm done high school.
We truly see with the man. Before we speak this song, it's for you and me. My microphone, my PC, I want to go. I blown on my pad, it's getting close. I type the keyboard, now let it roll. I put on my screen, press button on hold. Use it on internet, don't spend it on Facebook. I tell it so fast right now, I'm gonna look PC and laptop, don't want to cook. We stand, what we believe is anthem. We truly see with the man. Before we speak this song, it's for you and me, we stand.
Starts with yarn.
I'm working on a mitten, a nice toasty warm mitten.
It's a win-win on both sides. The kids win, the seniors who knit win.
We have 15,000 items, so we make lots and lots and lots of mittens. I probably make, maybe on an average of 10 to 15 a month. There are so many children that really aren't able to afford the warm clothes that they need in the winter time, and this is really the only way they can get those kinds of things.
One year we had a nurse say she'd given this little kid hat and mittens. Next day he didn't have them on. And she said, "Did you lose that already?" And he said, "No, but it wasn't my turn to have them. My brother's turn was today."
It's fun at school, and we're trying to learn every day.
To learn a lot.
We have to think what we want and say it and do it.
And into the second room is, you said 3? How many into the third room?
I didn't know like I could really learn it. Well, I know I could, but it was kind of difficult, and I liked it though.
We like Saturday school. We like Saturday school. But let's do like a comedy and a horror.
We gotta make it fun because everybody likes a good laugh every once in a while.
Our video productions course here at Farnsworth is ran by a group called In Progress, who are a group of past Farnsworth students and some others that have collaboratively gotten together and come up with a group that helps middle school, elementary kids learn more about video production.
You guys did a pretty good job with us. Yeah. You guys did a pretty good job. You guys did really good for first timers. It was probably 2 years ago. I came here and taught photography. One of the teachers asked us to come back and teach video class here, so we decided to come back. Bring out the words that everyone could be an artist at heart.
I don't know, life stuff or love. Or
having a voice in today's world is really important. And I think video is one of the tools that is already really important and creates access and ability to speak and speak their minds and speak about what's important to them.
That they can look back and they can say, you know, this was really fun for me, and it hasn't been that long ago, so it'll probably be really fun for you. And have that be a believable message. Kids believe other kids more so than they believe us as the adults.
Make it slow motion. Yeah. When he says no, you guys can slow motion and be like, no. Yeah.
The whole alphabet. Oh no. Chica chica boom boom. Chica chica boom boom. Chica chica boom boom.
Reading is so powerful, and it doesn't matter what language they read. And please listen to that. It doesn't matter what language. If you can read to them in your native language, still wonderful. If you can read, or your siblings or the siblings can read to them aloud and you can listen, still wonderful. Reading, listening to the words, seeing the words, identify the words with the sound, is what it makes the difference.
Mamas and papas and uncles and aunts hug their little dears. Then dust their parents. Then U, V, W, wiggle jiggle free. Last to come, X, Y, Z, and the sun goes down on the coconut tree. But chica chica boom boom, chica chica boom boom.
Do we have a box? 4, 5, 1 race food, and we choose like the place we're gonna give out food to.
We had so much food that we had to add boxes. It's been a tradition here at Battle Creek. I'm the facilitator, so they're the ones making the decisions.
And everybody here voted for Salvation Army.
And a couple kids said, oh yeah, that's close to my house. I know where that is. And so that was a really important thing for them this year.
970.
And we had a friendly competition where each grade level tried to see how much food they could bring.
1,117.
Student Council, part of what our mission is to serve the school but also the larger community, and service learning is a really important thing for all of our students to learn.
It's helping people. It's not just about the competition, about winning or something, but it's about doing it for the good, not just giving it because.
Thanks. How are you today?
In order for education to be successful, children have to have proper nutrition in order for their brains to function well and in order for them to have the energy to get through the day.
Can you open up?
The children seem to really like the food and they know what they want and they made very wise choices. I think that's probably from being exposed to it.
I'm excited. I feel ready. I'm very excited, very touched by the opportunity to be of service, and it's a good way to start the day. I'm looking forward to a really special day, and I'm looking to work.
Science is all around us.
How like programming?
Once in a while, you see a light go on.
Yes, I would like to be a mentor.
Their creative thinking skills have really increased.
He helped me figure out what I wanted to do.
Literally get kids each month that say, when are they coming back?
Working with the students to program a robot using a simplified programming system, a basic programming system, and they use the programming system to make a robot go through a series of obstacles on the course.
He just went straight to make a turn. Made another turn.
The kids pretty much self-selected what they like doing best. With this, there is no right or wrong answer. Their inquiry skills have increased because it's a constant process of trial and error and trial and error. Okay, so it just needs to go a little further, right?
Yeah. So we like to talk, I'm an I, and we like to talk, but we also have to listen to each other.
Once a month, we have about 70 adult female mentors and 70 adult male mentors. And they meet with our students in groups of 8 or 9 and literally spend time getting to know the kids, talking with the kids about their lives, who they are, and then trying to reach them through a core value that we have each month.
What's respect?
Treat others how you want it to be treated.
Good, good.
And I literally get kids each month that say, when are they coming back?
We actually have adults that come like at least once a month or twice a month to come talk to us about their future and what they're doing. That shows us that we can have great lives like them.
You were the boss and I was coming knocking on your door for a job. What kind of traits would you want me to have? We thought, let's do e-mentoring. It's an 8-week course. So the kids have a prompt, it's a question that we've worked out with the school. They send the prompt in an email, we answer the prompt. So we run 400 kids a year through this program. And then we decided that why not cap it off with some kind of like a mock interview.
Let's take a look at your resume.
Now that I know that it's a possibility of me going to a community school and a 4-year college at the same time, and help me figure out what I wanted to do.
Well, I think you interviewed very well.
Does this have green leaves? Looking at buckthorn, which is the last bush or tree to lose its leaves. They're an invasive species, and they are trimming them all the way down to the bottom of the ground, and they are spraying it with special chemicals so they don't regrow. Part of the 7th grade science course, life science course, which ties directly to the curriculum.
And make it more real. That you're out here doing it instead of the teacher just telling you, we're gonna do this and this is how you're gonna do it.
Thank you, 3M.
Thank you, 3M.
Thank you, 3M. Thank you, 3M.
Thank you, 3M.
Thank you, 3M.
Thank you, 3M.
Thank you, 3M.
Found out I was coming here. I found a picture of my daughter. She went here to this school when it was Webster, so I kind of come full circle. As a parent, I was here. Now I'm a principal. Service learning is a teaching method that integrates community service, which enhances student learning. We really want the school to be at the heart of community, so we have a lot of community programs in our building, lots of volunteers, and just some of the simple things. When people come in, we smile, how you doing? We're really authentic, and we just want this to be a welcoming place. When I come into the building, I really see the children as my own daughter. And I always think about what kind of school would I want for my daughter? what kind of principal would I want for my daughter? It's really about keeping the kids at the forefront.
I have been working with kids since I was 10 years old. I was a camp counselor. Through college, I worked in a preschool. So I've always been with kids. So I don't think it was a big jump. Maybe the accounting was, but I liked math. Well, science and mathematics, especially mathematics and science, have always been my passion. I was studying accounting before I changed over my senior year to be a teacher. I'm very concerned about the future. I think that it's really, really important that we as adults make sure that we're role models for children. They are a voice that sometimes is not heard. And maybe especially for me, for kids of color, I think that it has always been, and even maybe more so in Minnesota, a place where you needed to have advocacy. And that's a role for me for all kids, but it's also a role that I take very seriously as we look at closing the achievement gap.
Girl last year who was just getting hearing aids, and there were a lot of pictures of animals in there, and they wanted to put the sounds that the animals made.
Sound like this.
And she had never really heard a chickadee before. It's winter, and her face just went, when the chickadee went, and her whole face went like this, because with her hearing aids and being able to turn up the machine and then to put the chickadee onto the thing, it was like this whole really cool thing to her.
Do you like tornado?
Some students have trouble pronouncing sounds, and they might be able to listen to their sounds and re-record it and hear how it's supposed to sound. And they can even take part of a word on iMovie and they can record, maybe they can say the L, Lee, but if they put it in Billy, it might come up Billy. But if they can do Lee, and they can do that chunk and put it together with Bill, then they can hear their own voice say it correctly.
That was the building that I learned to communicate, and I learned with the help of very dedicated teachers. I came in to the United States direct to Minnesota from the refugee camp in 1980. I went to Harding High School, and our program started with 5 students in 1980, and it was called the TESOL program. I've been working in the district for 23 years, and I still feel the same way the first day I got hired. I'm very glad to be part of this community, and I'm very happy with the opportunities that have been presented to me. From the time the kids walk in the building, they should have a clean and well-maintained building, to the time that they sit in the classroom to learn their lessons, and there is no limit for what we can do. This is the most rewarding job a person can have. It's working in the education system, because you are helping to shape somebody's future.
We
started from just a spark in class, maybe a discussion, and all of a sudden 9 weeks later an entire course is developed around it, and that's been a lot of fun. And a lot of it has been from things that students want to know about. They study it for a little bit in a class, but they want to know more, and so we've developed an entire class around that subject. We study the bubonic plague, and maybe it's a single day in a world history class where you've got 10,000 years of human history that you have to cover. And we've been able to take a class on that and turn it into a history of disease and study how disease has affected humans and human development. I'm really incredibly proud that there are 5 teachers from St. Paul schools that were nominated for this award. I think that's it's spectacular.
That I was sharing a classroom with last semester, and she was in the back of the classroom doing her prep hour and having planning time. And every day she watched me teach, and one day she pulled me aside and said, "I'm going to nominate you for Teacher of the Year in Minnesota." A lot of kids fear writing. A lot of kids come in and they say they hate to read, or they just don't. They feel like reading is it's stressful for them. They can't concentrate on it, that they don't care about it, and just showing them, modeling for them, like how exciting words can be, playing with words. And I think everybody can relate to that. They like music, and there is a really current song out right now with Eminem and Rihanna called Love the Way You Lie. And we analyze those lyrics. They're just full of figurative language because the lyrics are so emotional or exciting. And so I think nobody really would disagree with that words are pretty cool.
I like to think about what they need to achieve, but also in a way that gets them wanting to, jump up on the chair and say, okay, let's do it. My principal nominated me for Minnesota Teacher of the Year, and that was a big surprise because that was the first time that I've had that nomination. And what's really nice about that is that the principal really supports the English language learner teacher in a French immersion setting. And I had an opportunity to go to Korea for a year. And I lived on an island called Jeju Island, and I taught Korean students from kindergarten to high school, and I also had a housewives group. And that year experience really solidified for me what I really wanted to do. So when I came back to Minnesota, my goal was to be in my home country, but to work with second language learners. And at St. Paul Public Schools, and it was a perfect setting because we also had many new immigrants and refugee students, but also here I had so many resources and I was able to help.
We worked with a library foundation. So there's this foundation called the Rican Foundation, and they support and help maintain rural libraries in small communities in Guatemala and Honduras. They've got about 11 libraries now in rural areas of Guatemala. And this is a really important thing because, the access to information is so limited. People don't have the chance to just hop on the internet, or if they go to a library in a big city, you can't just check out the books. If you go to a bookstore, you can't even look through the books. They're all behind glass. and in plastic. And so just to even, browse a book, let alone buy it or be able to borrow it, is quite a foreign experience for them. It was a huge success. I mean, the community has just embraced it. It's become the heart of the community.
That every year the students come, walk by the room and say, oh, this is out in here, and then they can't wait until to get into this class to actually be what they are. Whatever you do, it has to mean something to the students, and for me, I try to bring something personal. I have my own personal connections to what I teach, and I try to explain to the students they also have to find a connection to that. I think that every teacher is doing the best they can, and just the fact to recognize a few people embarrasses me. I'm very glad that I got nominated, but I think every teacher should be nominated. It would be fun to have just all the teachers up there get an award, because we do touch other students. We touch the students and their whole life. I do have students who I have since 4th grade and who are still in contact with me because they got a connection and they feel that, there is some help I can give them along their life. So those are the things that make us feel so warm in our hearts.
Amigos de Highland Junior High, gracias por venir a nuestro salón. Leer con ustedes, clase de sentar.
Right.
Learning Buddies program, and the Spanish immersion kids from Highland Park Junior High are reading with 2nd graders from Senor Baco and Senor Rice's class, and we're doing reading in Spanish. My kids have made books in their science class about a disease that they had to research and create a story that would be appropriate for 2nd graders about their science curriculum.
Most of the students in these two classes attended Adams, so a lot of familiar faces. The 2nd graders to see, kind of look into the future of 5 or 6 years and see what lies ahead.
And you guys go to Highland, and they go to Highland. Yeah, after Adams, they go to Highland. Yep, that's right.
Older kids, and now they're feeling special because they're in the special program, but they're actually the teachers now for younger kids within that program.
He's one of the most talented young readers I've ever met.
Llega la noche, está muy bien.
They have not had a music teacher for at least 2 years. I just want one that I can get instruments, because that's our problem. We don't have enough instruments for everybody. We got about 10 glockenspiels, both alto and soprano glockenspiels. Those are little bitty metal xylophones.
so I get up at 4:30 every morning, go to the Y, and exercise. I like to bike and to run. And what I have enjoyed about nursing is that I have been able to do a lot of different things. Public health, intensive care, emergency room, school nursing. I have found school nursing to be the most challenging job I have had, and this is the longest job I've stayed. I like to be challenged, and I have felt challenged every day, and I felt very rewarded. Students benefit, and the nurses feel good about the work that they're doing. They know that it matters, and they're making changes, and again, I think we want each student at their best potential to learn, and we want to make sure that their health concern, whatever it might be, is not affecting their ability to learn.
Michigan, you have to have your hand up whenever you meet somebody because we're like that mitten.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the state is kind of looks like a mitten. And so in Michigan, whenever you meet somebody, you'll say, "Oh, where are you from?" And if people will put their hand up. So my reservation, which is the Saginaw Chippewa Nation, is located about the middle of the hand. And we actually didn't live on tribal lands. We lived in Flint, Michigan. And for whatever reason, I was tracked into a non-college line, and I graduated with B honors, so I don't understand why I was tracked that way. So, and I heard a lot of messages that I wasn't good college material, I shouldn't go to college, I probably wouldn't make it in college. And luckily, I was almost a 4.0 student in college when I did go. So obviously, those messages got turned around in my mind over time. But it's hard because back when I was dreaming, when I was a kid, I didn't have people to give me those dreams, to say that those dreams could be reality. And that's one of the reasons Indian Ed needs to be here.
The start of baseball season one year, go to the Metrodome. One of our students decided that it would be really cool to sit in the dugout and spit on the floor. And I looked at him and I said, "Excuse me, we don't spit and we're on a field trip." And he said, "But Kirby Puckett spits here. I wanted to spit here too." We have a really interesting life here at the Student Placement Center. One of the things that we do is intake for students who are new or coming into the country for the first time, or the school district for the first time. So in a lot of respects, we're like the open door, the welcoming door to bring people in. They stop here first pretty much exclusively from pre-K to 12, and we help them with getting set up in school, we help them with intake, we start their student records in campus, or we update their student records in campus. We do language assessments to correctly place them for ELL. We connect really tightly with special ed. We've got a really good connection with them as well as ELL. And we also have a health assessment here. And those health problems, if they're discovered sooner rather than later, we can address them and get the kids on a good path to learning. The other thing is we do have school choice here, and it can be really overwhelming for parents. One of the things I've always said about school is what you do every day. And you have to put a lot of pieces of that puzzle together so that we can try to help families get quite a range of services and see the family as a whole.
You know, there's two things you can control in life, attitude and effort. And I think I've told that to all my teams and even my classes. And talked about, hey, you can't control the bounce the ball or the bounce the puck or the referee's call or the umpire's call. But the two things you can always control, attitude and effort. it's neat going out to different schools. I mean, because I've been mostly on the east side for the last 26, 27 years, grew up on the east side, went to Prosperity Heights as a kid, if you can imagine that, and then ended up teaching 26 years there. Graduated from Johnson High School, played a little hockey at Johnson, and I was pretty small, so I decided to wait till I grew a little bit and played a couple years in college, but then came back, and rather than coaching at Johnson, I was coaching at Harding, which is kind of a tough thing to do with the history of Johnson at Harding hockey. I'm retiring this spring after 38 years, and hey, who knows? I might be doing a little coaching of baseball. Who knows? I might be becoming a hitting instructor here at Harding High School and volunteer some time.
Not here today, but total will be $10,000 worth of musical instruments.
Saxophone! The saxophone!
And when I first got here, I was amazed at how many instruments there were. There was a lot of instruments, but some of them were from the 1940s.
That sounds like a cardboard box.
And really old instruments, so.
A lot of these screws are really stripped and I have no idea what this is from.
And then the ones that we do have, I joke with the kids, they're kind of like grandmas and grandpas because they're very frail. We have to be really careful with them.
From this to shiny.
We got 4 tenor saxophones today, 4 of these big quad drums that the kids are putting together over here, 4 bass drums, and then the big string bass.
Yep, it sounds better than our old one.
It's hard to believe that it's happening, you know? I mean, when I wrote the grant application, I really wanted us to get it because I know we needed it really bad. But, you know, when you think of all the other people all over the country that are writing those grant applications, and it seems like, how can we possibly get it?
It's the opening day of school. You will always find me supervising the parking lot at the placement center. Sitting in this office, I see the kids on paper. I don't see the faces. And the faces of the kids on the first day of school is always great. Even the adolescents who are trying to pretend that they don't want to be in school. There's a lot of administrative stuff that the state requires, that the feds require, that all kinds of people require. For instance, the Federal Office of Civil Rights every 2 years has this monster of a report, and that occupies a lot of my time. But I don't want schools to have to be bothered with that. They have more important work to do.
I start my day with a cup of coffee, but it's very much milk with a shot of vanilla, because I'm really not a coffee drinker, but I like holding the cup.
And when I was a student in high school, I never met my school counselor. I think that there have been many impressions that school counselors are people who sit behind desks and you never really see them. At the beginning of this year, I had a staff development event at St. Paul College. And one of the students who's now in college, who came back to speak to all of the people who were there, happened to be my student last year in high school. And one of the questions that he was asked was, is there anything that you wish that you would have known about this opportunity? And he said, no, I had a very good relationship with my school counselor, and I felt like I had everything that I needed.
At Fort Snelling Historical Society. I was a reenactor. Well, I was Mrs. Snelling on occasion. The other roles are, of course, a soldier's wife, a laundress, an officer's wife. Later on, I realized that I actually enjoyed teaching more than the Fort Snelling. But that was doing those field trips and having the kids come to that very authentic site and seeing everything really inspired me to get to reach more kids. But if a kid can understand the reasons why a nation chose to go to war and then read a diary of a young man who went off to war, or a young woman who's like, don't go to war, I don't want you to do this, why do you feel like you have to? Then they're like, is this real? And all of a sudden you have 7th graders arguing about whether President Nixon should be remembered for Watergate or his Vietnam policy. You know what I mean? It's like, are you really in 7th grade? Because there are adults that don't have those kinds of conversations.
My third trip to New Zealand, and I go with a bicycle and a tent and basically just ride for a month. Traveling there out in the hinterlands, all of your senses are just completely wide open. In 2006, the Will Steger Foundation started, and I thought it was a good opportunity to begin to pull Will's expedition experiences, pull that experiential, that adventure learning into our classrooms. Teachers basically to bring this curriculum into classrooms and do things like follow an expedition, go outside. It's really delightful to watch teachers discover how they can use this curriculum for even just a few class lessons, make it their own. We do have amazing teachers out there.
I wanted the ability to work in a district that I thought was truly multicultural. And the diversity that was in St. Paul was just I mean, you almost couldn't find it anywhere. There's a great responsibility in being able to really embrace that diversity. We look at to what extent are we all responsible for student achievement. And so basically you could look across the building and you could get a slice at what sort of instructional practices are happening and how close are those to best practice. The important thing that you do is you take that data and you do something with it. So what we really do is empower schools and instructional staff to look at themselves and then get better.
But it was just like diamonds sparkling on the water, the moon and the stars on the water in the Mediterranean. It was so warm. You'd jump off, and there were kids from all over the world. It was really fun. I started writing grants as a volunteer when my kids were at Adams Spanish Immersion. And as I said, I was home with kids, so I had a lot of time to dedicate to working in the schools and the site council as a class volunteer, parent volunteer, went on a lot of trips. I was really lucky to be able to do all that. And so, yeah, I saw the ins and outs of the district, and from at least a parent's perspective, and I saw what I thought worked or didn't work from the outside. And so I'm also really happy to be involved now to try to bring that perspective to my work from within the district. You can say it in a grant over and over again, but it's true. The kids we're educating in St. Paul are the future employees of this state. Bottom line, in all the projects that we're working on and all the grants we're working on, is always the kids.
I grew up on the west side, and I grew up also not speaking English, speaking Spanish first when I started school at Riverview. And so it's really neat now to go to Riverview and just see it as an adult. I've been involved with bilingual education in ESL since I was in junior high or high school. My mother was one of the first bilingual teachers for our district. She started out as a TA, teaching assistant, and then worked herself up to a teacher. I have always been in the field of English as a second language, ESL program, and that's how I started as an ELL. At that time it was called TESOL Centers, and I was an elementary teacher there, and just worked in the ELL departments for a long time. And since we have just students who are new to the country and who are learning English, it was a perfect fit. I'm really fortunate that I get to meet the new citizens of St. Paul first before the other schools get them, and that's really nice. Because you get so many different fresh perspectives.
It's very focused. It's almost like a meditation. And a lot of rock climbing and mountain climbing as well, and ice climbing. A little bit in town. There's not anything very high here. But the rest of it has been mostly on the North Shore and up around Nipigon Bay, north of Thunder Bay in Canada. Here I am at the bottom of this very dangerous crevasse, and you're going to try this method to get me out of here. We set up a situation where the kids were just barely introduced to pulleys and how they worked. And then they were given a very realistic scenario of Mr. Faber, myself, falling into a crevasse on the side of a mountain, and they needed to get me out. And so they needed to figure out a way to do that with the least amount of effort.
See? I was struggling up there.
As an elementary kid, I always had a chemistry set. I was always out for walks in the woods. I was always collecting leaves and rocks and stuff. And it was just very natural for me to want to share that with other kids, that same excitement I had for science.
I went to high school in North St. Paul. I was one of 3 African American graduates in my class, and because of that I chose to go to a historically black university, and I went to Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, Florida, and graduated and came back to the Twin Cities, came back home to where I enjoy doing this work. And St. Paul Public Schools has a very strong support and interest and direction around the measurement of academic progress, otherwise known as a MAP. And when we can have parents step into conferences next month and ask the teacher, what is my student's MAP test score? And when we can have students coming home, such as my student did, and say, Mom, my MAP test score was X, and I'm going to work over these next few weeks to get it to Y. And when the teacher approaches the parent or the student and says, this is what your score is and this is what we need to get you to the next level, that's all 3 parties working together on behalf of the student's success. And I think that's what this is all about. I enjoy seeing the smiles on the students' faces as well as their families' faces when we're able to make this thing work called engagement. I love being able to work with the community agencies and faith-based agencies to be able to all come to a common goal of providing a strong education for the students and families in this city. It's what I love, it's what I do, and it's why I come to work every day, is to have a purpose of working with families and students.
I have been working with kids since I was 10 years old. I was a camp counselor. Through college, I worked in a preschool. So I've always been with kids. So I don't think it was a big jump. Maybe the accounting was, but I liked math. Well, science and mathematics, especially mathematics and science, have always been my passion. I was studying accounting before I changed over my senior year to be a teacher. I'm very concerned about the future. I think that it's really, really important that we as adults make sure that we're role models for children. They are a voice that sometimes is not heard. And maybe especially for me, for kids of color, I think that it has always been, and even maybe more so in Minnesota, a place where you needed to have advocacy. And that's a role for me for all kids, but it's also a role that I take very seriously as we look at closing the achievement gap.